So, literally just got back from a weekend away. It was our 3-year wedding anniversary, so we went down to stay in Cornwall with some friends and the sausages. Whilst I was there, I accidentally sold my Gibson Les Paul, so I wanted to do a video on it before this one goes out of the door.
This channel is supported by TrueFire. TrueFire is an online library of lessons from some of my favourite players. There's thousands of lessons on there. You can use the promo code JNC40 to get 40% off of any of their courses.
So this was the first Gibson Les Paul that I've ever really done too much playing on and ever owned, and it's taught me a few things. One, I think, is that the 50s neck is the shape that is for me. Another thing it's taught me is that top wrapping is worth giving a go. And another thing it's taught me is that keeping your Les Paul on a stand, I think, is crucial if you're going to be someone like me who's more of a Strat and Tele player and going to try and get to grips with the Les Paul. I think it's worth giving it a go and sort of having this be sort of your number one guitar for a little while. That's kind of been my experience of it. The more you play it, the more you kind of get used to the vibe of a Les Paul. The other thing is that, for me personally, my perception of what it might be like to play a Les Paul is a little bit off. I kind of thought of them as kind of a clumpy sort of instrument, a little bit on the heavy side. This is like mid £9, so not super lightweight. But the flatter radius and the shorter scale length, I actually think suits itself rather nicely to kind of some more shreddy playing. Yeah, and also playing it live actually with if you do it the old jazz fusion way with your strap up a bit higher, actually a super nice live guitar to play as well. And I'm glad that I did play it live before I sold it, because I've been umming and ahhing about selling this guitar for a little while, just because, you know, I don't play it as much as some of my other guitars, and I've got to a point where I'm thinking, like, if I'm not playing the guitars loads, that I don't necessarily need to be the person that owns them. As someone without loads of space, and I don't really see myself as a collector, it has been really useful to have a Gibson Les Paul for certain things. There's a demo upcoming where having a Les Paul like this was super useful, but going forward, I think for me an ES335 could perform the role of a Les Paul quite nicely, and there is something else that came up Les Paul shaped that I'm going to do a video with shortly. I couldn't really turn down, but so a Les Paul doesn't need to be, or specifically Play Authentic Gibson doesn't need to be in my house for the moment. So it's been sold to a chap up the road. So what happened was basically, I had this on eBay for a while at like $18.99, which I think was a bit of an optimistic price, so I didn't have too much interest in it. And then there was like a little flurry of interest in it over the weekend, and this guy asked a question about which Monty's pickups were in here, which are underspun paths at the moment. And I answered that email, and then about a couple of hours later, the guitar is sold. And I'm thinking, what has happened there then? And I look at the price that it's sold for, and it's actually 10% lower than I had it listed for. And I was like, well, that's odd. I don't remember sending an offer. So what I must have done is accidentally press send a 10% off offer as I replied to this guy's message. Anyway, I'm still pretty happy with the price. It's, you know, perfectly reasonable, I think. I've got plenty of, you know, videos out of this and plenty of experience with it, and I'm happy for it to go up the road to live with someone else for the time being now, until whoever else ends up owning this thing. I think it was quite a pretty example. This was a 2002 Honeyburst Les Paul. It's very... The thing that I've learned most about Les Pauls is that actually the modern standard is not actually that close at all to the old 50s style burst. Having played my buddy Jake Loosemore's Murphy Lab, that was kind of what gave me the idea that this was totally a different instrument, like a Murphy Lab designed to be a bit closer to the 50s spec, I think, with the smaller frets and, you know, the red dots and the nylon nut and stuff like that. Actually a far different guitar than what these end up being a bit like. I think if you're going for that style of guitar, maybe a Maybach Leicester might be a good bet, or, you know, an R9 and R8 beyond into Murphy Lab territory. For me, I'm never going to spend that kind of money on a Les Paul, given that I don't think they'll ever be my number one guitar. But yeah, just wanted to say goodbye to this one. I think it was a pretty one. We've had some laughs, we've had some tears, and it's kept an R8 out of the house, so that saved me like $4,000, and now it is going to be replaced by something, so watch this space. If you liked the way this one sounded, let me know in the comments. If you're glad to see the back of it, let me know in the comments. Yeah, the most authentic I ever was on this channel, I think. See you in another life, brother.